Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shaw Craft One at my old barn door. And I want to say happy 4th of July weekend to everybody. Happy Independence Day. I hope you're all doing well. And I have the flip throughs of the other two Billowing journals that will be in my shop when you see this video. So I'm super excited about these. I have spent so much time and energy in all of these Billowing journals, and I've put my heart and soul into each one, so I hope that you enjoy them. But before we do the flip through real quick, I just want to let everybody know I am having a Christmas Independence Day Christmas in July sale for the weekend on some Christmas journals that I had left over from last Christmas in the booth, in the share booth. And so I have relisted those and put them on sale. There's a 20% off sale going on those for the weekend for you all to grab those at a discounted price for Christmas in July to start off our month of Christmas in July. I'm going to be working on my daughter-in-law, or my future daughter-in-law's wedding journal at some point. We're going to be making some Christmas journals this month. What else? I have quite a few of the Christmas journals. So go check it out in the shop. You'll see the new listings that have come up. I've also reactivated some listings of some journals that I knew were in there, or, on my shelf. I'll go back through them on Monday and try to relist some more. But I've highly reduced the price on each one of those as well for y'all to grab for this 4th of July weekend sale. So there's that. And then I also made this cute little, it's just a stuffed bag with lots of my handmade ephemera in it. So it's got a little paper clip, a doily. This is I'm not going to take everything out of this because it would just be a pain to try to get it all back in. And I'm running out of time. We are going to the lake this weekend for the 4th of July. The fireworks show will be over the lake on Friday night. So, we want to get there in order to be able to see that. So we may not be back until, I'm not sure if we're coming back Sunday or Monday. So you won't see me for the weekend. I won't have any videos. But then when I come back next week, we'll get started on our Christmas and July stuff. We're going to have lots and lots of fun. But just know, if you don't see me for a few days, it's because I'm taking a break, a much needed break. But anyways, so in this little pocket, you've got this cute little bookmark magnet here. You've got a little fabric tag. These are just some overflow of things that I had in my drawer, and I thought, why not share them? One of my crunchy parchment paper tags. There's actually several of those in there. There's another one with the birds on it. And here's one with the top decorated. Got a cute little Paris tag. You've got one of my beautiful, this is a vellum envelope, one of my mixed media envelopes. Get a shaker tag in there. A coffee that I'd guess check. A beautiful mixed media painted heart doily with this cute little clip. And then in here you get a couple of blank tags. I'm trying to look and see what all is in here. There's some belly bands. There's a sweet little bag, one of those bags from Selena that I got. There's, the cute little pink bags. And it's stuffed with all kinds of different pockets that I've made, handmade pockets, and belly bands, mixed media belly bands. And then this envelope is stuffed with all kinds of goodness for you to play with in your journal. There's some handmade ephemera in here, and some journaling cards, a little booklet, And then just some little, just little bits and pieces of things that I've made along the way, and that I haven't had a chance to use yet. So I just thought I would share them in this little bag. And so it's just a little stuffed bag, and I'm not going to do a lot of pictures of this simply because I am running out of time. But I will just take a picture of this bag, and I'll get it put in the shop for a really good price for y'all as well. So there's that. So let's get started on these journals. All right, so this is the first Billowing journal. We'll call this Birdsong. So this will be the name for this journal, called Birdsong. It's got the, as you can see, it billows out everywhere. There's the top view, the side view. Let me untie it. It's got this tie, and I made this tie kind of extra long so that when you get it, you'll have room to stuff this baby full and still have room to tie it, and then you can trim off any excess of that you don't want and use it in the journal if you want to. And then this is the bottom view, and it is billowing out everywhere on the bottom with all this beautiful goodness. Okay, so for the cover, I again have done lots and lots of mixed media stuff. You've got laces, you've got some receipts, some green stamps, cheesecloth, this beautiful birdhouse image that I have coffee dyed on this, it's cardboard, corrugated cardboard. And then if you look underneath the laces and things, you can see like little labels. It's got this gorgeous vintage resin little gardener's hat. I thought was so stinking cute. And then if you lift up the laces, you can see some more little labels underneath there as well. It's got the cheesecloth here, different colors. We've got white, coffee dyed, and then some of the purple colored cheesecloth. And then if you look at the spine, let me see if I can hold it down where you can see it. I did something different with this spine, and I had so much fun with it. It's got some vintage doilies, a rusted safety pin down here, lots of stitching, some vintage chenille, and then of course the vintage Reader's Digest spine with the ink sprayed creepy cloth at the top and some lace billowing out the top as well. And then the back, I just kind of grunged it up, and I put that pretty cream colored lace on there as well. So I'm going to do a quick flip through of this one because we still need to get to the next one, and I don't want the video to be too long. So let me just, I'm going to try and zoom in a little. Hopefully y'all can see that okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to sit while I do this. So I'm going to try not to move it around. Okay, so when you open up the journal, you have this beautiful vintage chenille for the pockets here. And I wanted to put some contrasting colors. So I put the orange and the purple together. I just wanted it to pop when you first open the journal. So in this pocket, you have a beautiful tag made from Braille paper, mixed media tag. A couple of sweet little vintage cards with I put these in here because I really, really loved the sayings on them, or the little quotes on them. And then inside, you have a double pocket here. So you have a vintage Yahtzee scorecard, and I love that it's already used. And then a little airmail envelope in there. Okay. And then here on the front of this first signature, it's 2 signatures. I can't remember how many pages. I think it's 120 pages total. You've got, this is some vintage feed sack fabric, and I just pinned it on with a rusted safety pin. Got the beautiful lace doily there as the front page of the first signature. This is one of my digitals. This is a digital in my shop. Copied out a heart doily. You have this billowing out the bottom with a pretty embossed tag in there. This flips, you've got the beautiful doily there, and then this flips open. This is some vintage fabric, and I just put a tag in that pocket as well. You have a vintage receipt in the center, and I love that it has D. Shaw. It's the wrong initial there, but I just thought that was super cute. You've got the gessoed and sprayed and collaged papers. Some of the parchment papers. This is that vintage flocked wallpaper that I got from Laura, and then sweet little applique there. Got the fabric in the center. Calling card for a page tab. Fabric in the center here. This is just a little collage cluster, whatever you want to call it. Vintage wallpaper. I've got the fabric here. Beautiful dyed dictionary page that I got in Laura's paper pack with the vintage Chanel tab. And then just stuff down in there. You have the ledger paper. You can coffee dye that and make it look old if you want to. It's not old, but you can make it old. Collaged coffee dyed paper. More fabric. And this is vintage fabric here. The inked and gessoed pages there. This is the cutest little coloring book page that I've just tucked in. But I thought it was cute with the little sewing stuff on there. And then you have this beautiful vintage, I don't know that you would call this a doily. It was more like, you know, but you sit it on your coffee table or your end table and you put pretties on it. Just gorgeous. Very vintage. Fabric here. This is one of my collaged cards. And then on the edge here, you have this beautiful, I just thought this was so cool because it's so very different and unique. And that's the whole point of the Billowing journal, is to, you know, think outside the box and find unique things. And so this has little chains dangling off of it, pretty little gold, and I guess they call that rose gold and silver little rose there. Okay. I've got the rusted paper clip there on the coffee dyed paper, fabric in the center. Will Remington, are you itchy? This is beautiful vintage fabric here, or I don't know if it's vintage or not. It looks vintage. A sweet friend sent it to me just recently. Beautiful vintage piece here, and I love how shabby it looks and tattered. And then inside the pocket, I just put one of my little large size little stamped music pages with the napkin and some vintage stationery. This is not vintage, but this piece is vintage. Okay. Get that tucked back in there. And then on this side, you have your tool pocket that's got the watch parts and seed beads and rusted paper, rusted safety pins and buttons and all kinds of goodies in there. And so in the pocket, you've just got some little journaling cards and a little flash card. The shorthand, the very vintage shorthand page. This is some beautiful stationery that I've been hoarding forever, and I decided it's time to use it. And so I've just tucked it here on this rusted paper clip. Got the milk bottle top there. Little stationery. This is a page tab, but I also made it like a little pocket and tucked a little tag in there for you. Altered paper clip. These are some of my labels, my dot matrix labels that I did on my jelly plate. And this is a vintage embroidered piece. And then you have a couple of journaling cards in there, and then this very vintage from 1907 receipt. Beautiful collage page. This, I love this, screams the 70s to me. Sweet little page tab there. We've got another one of those vintage receipts. This one is from, I'm not going to take it off the paper clip. It's a rusted paper clip, and I just don't want to rip the receipt. 1908, I believe that says. This is some more very vintage fabric, and it's polyester. Gotta love it. And I love the colors. There's the other side of that beautiful doily. Some stationery. Another one of the gessoed, painted and sprayed and inked and stamped pages. Some beautiful stationery here that I've shared in the center of the doily. With this is some of my stamped and inked masking tape. Fabric here, beautiful vintage yo-yo. This is the yo-yos from the 1800s. Okay, we gotta flip faster. This is one of my ink sprayed envelopes, and I just put that in here for you to be able to play with. It's on the back of this vintage wallpaper. Another one of those vintage yo-yos. Love, love, love this fabric. I think this was from a tablecloth. There's the other side of that flocked wallpaper. Another collaged and stamped page. I'm trying to flip fast, but I want to make sure you can see everything too. Okay, so this is the end of the first signature, and there's the other piece of your doily. And then here you have this doily, and it's just beautiful. And actually, you can actually hang this on this button to kind of hold it in place if you want to. But I absolutely love how very vintage and delicate this doily is. I just thought it was just gorgeous. So you have the little button there that you can hang that on, because it's kind of got, you know, little holes in it because it's vintage. Okay, and you have this card on a rusted paper clip. And then some more of this vintage fabric. Little page tab there. Some more beautiful fabric. This is a vintage label. And you have this gorgeous pocket here, and I've just stuffed in some journaling cards. One of those little vintage "Hello, my name is" stickers. Beautiful vintage embroidery page here. And on the back side, I've folded it over and stitched it to make a pocket. And then you have this gorgeous journaling card in there that's stamped. Sack pocket here with just a journaling card in there. This fabric is actually I'm having problems with my sewing machine. So I was doing some practicing trying to fix it, and I actually loved the way it turned out like that. So I put that in there. This is a very vintage, like it had trim in it, and it was wrapped up in, oops, this is a very vintage recipe page, but you can kind of see, you probably can't see it in camera, but you can see the yellowing around it. Vintage fabric here in the center. There's one of those vintage yo-yos. A little corrugated cardboard sprayed page tab. And then you have this beautiful, beautiful, I love, love, love this. I just think this is absolutely gorgeous. Very vintage. And then it's got the sweet little dangle hanging on that. Okay, here's one of those pockets. Okay, and inside this pocket, I put a vintage Life magazine page. And I was reading it the other day when I was stuffing these pockets, and realized that this is the very last issue that Life magazine ever made. It was in 1972. So you've got a journaling card in there as well. I've got the beautiful florals from my Mother's Day florals. And then that's on the back. And I've just tucked it in the page here. So it's floating. You can put it anywhere in the journal you want to. Some more mixed media pages. These are some more of those vintage yo-yos. Beautiful fabric there. Every page has something on it in both of these journals, so you always have something to look at. This is a vintage game card, and this was the top piece of the, I guess it was a scorecard book, and then just some vintage stationery. You've got the cigarette card for the page tab there. There's some more of that vintage stationery. Just random vintage pieces that I wanted to put in here. This is actually, look how cute this dangle is, but it's an earring. So I've just tucked it through one of these little holes on the doily, because I just thought it was so cool and unique that it was an earring, but it was just such a cute little dangle. So I didn't want to alter it. I was going to cut it off the earring piece and just put it as a dangle, but I actually like the idea that it's an earring. I just think that's really cool. So I left it on there like that. If you want to change it, you can, but I liked leaving it as an earring. This is a CD envelope that I've stenciled, and I've just added some pretty paper in there for you to have something pretty to look at in the window, and then you can put your own goodies in there. This is a very, very tattered piece of vintage eyelet fabric, and so I just liked the way it looked, and I wanted to add it to billow out the bottom. Fabric there. This is vintage wallpaper border, and then you have the beautiful alterations tag on the rusted paper clip. This is the center. No, this is not the center. Oh, I didn't show you the center of this signature. It has the rusted bell and the rusted washer as the dangle in both of the centers. Okay, this is the center of this one. So again, you've got the rusted washer and the rusted bell. I got the idea of the rusted washer from Tanya Ferguson. She scribbles in time, and I just loved that idea. Okay, so here you have a vintage children's book page, and then this sweet little vintage postcard. This is a very vintage piece of lace here that I made the belly band with, and then this was super cool. These actually have like metal rings in them, and they've crocheted around them, and so I just kind of made it a pocket with one of my parchment paper tags tucked into there. Beautiful altered index card tag there. Altered paper clip. There's another one of those gorgeous mixed media envelopes, and there's a goodie in there for you. But this is vellum, and I love how crunchy it is. Got the beautiful fabric here. This is very vintage embroidery, and so I made a pocket out of it and put one of the parchment paper tags in there. Here's the other piece of that beautiful floral doily type fabric, and I just put this little, I guess this is a hairpin. Not real sure what it is, but I just thought it was cool just to kind of weave it down through there, add a little interest. This was in that Life magazine, I think, and it's for the Encyclopedia Britannicas, so it's like the little order form. So I love adding things like that in there. And it's on a rusted paper clip. On the back you have a tag. I thought this was cool to put in here. This is it's an older for like a flower order, but I thought it would be real cool to put it in here for you to make a writing board with. So I was going to make it myself, and I thought, no, you got to leave some things for them to do. So that was the idea that I thought of for that. This folds open. I'm not going to take the paper clip off, but it does fold open. Here is another one of those vintage ads from that Life magazine from the 70s. I thought it was cool because it's a Chevy, and I love Chevy, so it's a Chevy ad. Vintage stamps for page tab there. Uh-oh, my little heart stuck. Beautiful, beautiful fabric there, and I have very little of that left, so I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay. Here's one of the mixed media pages. Beautiful butterflies on the edge of this page. Collaging, and this is a floating pocket with all kinds of goodies in there, made from a matte page. Beautiful fabric there. And then this is a tuck, so you can actually tuck something down in there if you wanted to. And then it's just got a journaling card in that side pocket. This is the other side of that embroidered piece, and it's got a really pretty little, it's not an index card, but it's a journaling card. And then I put some vintage Rolodex cards in there for you, and then there's another journaling card in behind. I'm not going to take it all out for time's sake. And there's the back side with the embroidery. Got the beautiful lace hanging down here. This is from one of my favorite books. This is from my Childcraft book that you can't find them. It's very hard to find them. So I've hoarded this for a long time, and I thought it was time to start sharing. It's just beautiful, beautiful graphics, and so I thought that would be pretty to share in that page there. Beautiful little tag for a page tab there. This was one of my pharmacy bags, and so I just made like a little, you can use it as a floating pocket, or you can wrap it around a page, or however you want to do it. But you could have a pocket here, and then a pocket here, and then open it up. This is a pocket here. So I just did some alterations to it to make it pretty. Okay, so that goes on that page. Maybe. These are pretty full, but once you start taking the stuff out and working in it, you know, it changes. It won't be as full. Okay, and then the very back, you have this beautiful piece of vintage lace here hanging down. I made a little bulb pin with some tags and some tatting and some vintage lace. You've got a couple of dangles and some beaded dangles on that bulb pin. And then I have one of those vintage postcards. This is a vintage envelope, a vintage Kismet score sheet, an alterations tag, and then a little card there. And then I have signed it. I probably should put the date on it. I'll try to remember to do that. So that is the Birdsong Billowing Journal. So that's how you'll find it in the shop. All right, and let me grab the next one. Okay, the next one, we'll just call this one Pink Flower, since it has the big pink flower on there. This one, I didn't want to put a tie on it. I wanted one that didn't have to have a tie, and it's not as bulky, but the reason it's not is because there's a little more room in it. So, as you can see, the side view there, you have all kinds of goodies poking out on the, or billowing out on the sides. There's the top view. There's the bottom view. You have lots of lovelies billowing out everywhere. And then on the cover, again, you've got some vintage dot matrix pieces here, labels, some stamping. I did some, this is actually from a napkin, and some labels here. And then underneath the lace, you've got some vintage labels. This is actually a part of the book spine. One of those little double D stamps. And this was actually some fabric that was coffee dyed. Got some tickets and just all kinds of goodies to look at and yummies to look at. Then on the spine, I did this spine a little different. This is a vintage spine from a church hymnal. And so I just added some labels here. You've got the beautiful lace here. And the fabric, this is muslin fabric that was old and coffee dyed and tattered. And then you've got the lace at the top with the creepy cloth. And then on the back, as you can see, I used a Childcraft book for the cover of this journal. And so I just kind of grunged it up a little and put some of that pretty fabric there. But I just kind of wanted it to be, again, grungy on the spine or the back. Okay, and then in the center here, I've got the corrugated cardboard that's coffee dyed and painted and gessoed, and it has napkin, and then you've got some lace. These are actually threads from a lot of the fabrics that I shredded or tattered throughout the journal. So again, you just have to get the journal and see all of the details, because there's a lot of details. Okay, so when you open it up, I again did one of those pretty little dangles here. Got the little flower and the laces. This is beautiful feedsack fabric, very vintage. And then I've just stuffed the pocket with goodies for you. Got this vintage postcard. This is a vintage, it was a vintage sewing something, I guess for, I don't know, loop braid or something. But I loved that she gave you the directions of how to do the headkerchief. This is a vintage front leaf from a book, but I just love how grungy it is. So look, check this out. I found this in a book. It's from 1965. So I thought that was super cool to add that in there. And then this beautiful envelope with the gorgeous butterflies. Hopefully you can see that. So, and then this is an envelope from a children's book page. Okay, so lots of goodies in that front quilted pocket for you there. Oh, see, I knew I shouldn't have took all of that out. I'm sorry. We're trying to hurry because we're going to run out of time. Okay, this is from one of my digitals. Got some vintage goodies mixed in with new goodies in here. Vintage plain card, and then a tag that I made. This was actually the inside cover of an Ideals magazine. Then you have this gorgeous, gorgeous, I guess this would be called a doily, but look at this beautiful dangle that I've added to it. Isn't that so pretty? So I just kind of wanted to highlight the prettiness and the daintiness of that doily. You have a vintage receipt from 1908. Okay, I'm going to go faster. I'm going to try to go faster. I'm going to try and flip and not talk, but y'all know I can't do that. This can be a tut. Got the fabrics in the center. This is one of those Czech Republic tickets. Vintage book page or a floral book page. I think it's vintage. Yeah. A fabric page here. Just some collaging there. You've got this beautiful eyelet lace billowing out here. This is a very vintage piece here. It's got one of those postcards in it and another tag that I made from the Ideals magazine cover. Beautiful embroidered piece here as a page. This is from that same Yahtzee game. These were 1972 is the copyright date on those. Beautiful little, this is actually washi tape here, but it looks like stamps. Vintage wallpaper border. Oops. And in here I made a pocket with the fabric on the back of the wallpaper border. This was a very old receipt that I found just tucked in a book that somebody had. It's not a receipt, it's a list. It's the list of their bills. Look at how much their rent was. Rent was $55. Wow. So anyway, I thought that was cool to put in there. And then just a couple of journaling cards tucked in there for you as well. Some vintage fabric. And this was a very vintage piece. And I just thought it would be cool as a page tab because I just had that bottom little portion, you know, that you tear off. Fabric there. Got the lace and the buttons. Beautiful rosette that my sweet friend Laura made for me. There's one of my, it's an altered flash card, and I made a tag out of it. Okay, and you have this beautiful piece here. It's got the little dangle on it. Gessoed paper, coffee dyed, inked, and stamped. And then you have this piece here that's got this gorgeous little dangle on it. Isn't that pretty? You can tell it's very old. Page tab there. These are mixed media papers. I meant to say that in the other one. So you have several pages of the mixed media paper in both journals. Beautiful mixed media envelope, and there's goodies tucked in there. I'm not going to open it and take off that paper clip. It's tucked in there on a rusted paper clip. Vintage typing page. These are some of those vintage bingo pieces. You know, the little blue pieces that you mark your spot. And this was a vintage recipe that I've hoarded forever. And so I'm finally going to share. We do that, don't we? very vintage lace that I've added to the page there. And then I've tucked in a little journaling card for you there on a paper clip on the back of that vintage wallpaper border. I think these are from the 90s, but they're still vintage. CD envelope there. It's just a little tag. Here's the other side of that embroidered page. One of my little pockets. And then this is a very long parchment paper tag. And I put it on the back of manila envelope. So it's a pocket there. And then it's a pocket in behind as well. You have a couple of these pockets in that little stuffed bag that I made to go in the shop. A vintage gardening card. It's from the 70s. Beautiful border there. A little cluster. This was a really, really cool metal bookmark. And it's got a Chinese symbol on it. I guess the symbol is for patience. And then it's got a quote on there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Hopefully you can. But I just thought it was very unique, very different. So I've put it in there as a bookmark. This is super cool. This is a handwritten recipe. And I found it in a book, one of my books that I bought. But then when you open it up, you have this very vintage receipt. So I thought that was super cool to add in there. Got the measuring tape page tab there. And then here's the other side of that beautiful delicate doily. And then you've got the beautiful piece of applique there. And then you get the beginning of the second signature. Again, these are digitals in my shop. Got the collage pages. Look at this gorgeousness. Is this beautiful or what? I don't know if y'all can tell on camera how very grungy it is, but you can tell it's very old. And then you have the sweet little pocketbook dangle on it because it just reminds me of Grandma. And, you know, Grandma's always got her pocketbook. So I just thought that was super fun. Okay. So we fold that over and you have a vintage children's book page here, just tucked in. I put so much vintage goodies in these journals and I love the way everything just kind of spills out and billows over. There's your tool pocket there, and it's got all kinds of goodies tucked in there. Some cool little cards, and it's a double pocket. Both of them are. Some more of that beautiful washi. This is a magnetized bookmark. And then this, my sweet friend Eve from Eve in Wonderland sent this to me. It's German. I think it's German. But on the back side, it's got this beautiful... These were all vintage papers that I got in a... You can see the date there's 1904. In a package that I got from her. And look at this yumminess. How delicious is this? Beautiful embroidered piece here. This one has... this was actually an earring. And it looks like it's a handmade earring. And I just thought it was so cool with the little watch face on it. And it's got a heart and a cross. And I don't know if you can see, but a little cherub. But it's an earring. So again, I wanted to leave it as an earring because I thought it was different. And then up here at the top, you have a dangle on a rusted safety pin. Got a vintage flashcard there on the map page. Some of those vintage yo-yos. And then on the back side, you have this sack. A little stuffed sack pocket that I've got some vintage and new goodies in there for you. And it's a pocket here on the side and a pocket in the top as well. This is some more of that mixed media paper with the little vocabulary card or word card. These are super, super vintage. This came out of a railroad time card book from like, I think 1901 or something like that. But just a very, very vintage piece there. Got the tag on the rusted paper clip. pretty little applique. Scripture card. You've got the fabrics in the centers. This is a 1956 Yahtzee scorecard. Collaging on the pages. Beautiful, beautiful doily. Look how gorgeous that is. Isn't that so pretty? Cigarette card page tab there. This is one of those dyed doilies that I have in the stuffed bag that'll be going in the shop. This is some very vintage trim that I got from my sweet friend Eve in Wonderland. She's in Switzerland, so she sends me wonderful goodies that we can't get here. Beautiful little journaling card there. This is another very, very vintage receipt, I think from that same railroad book. Mixed media paper. Vintage magazine page with the ad. Y'all know I'm a sucker for the ads. Beautiful collage page. There's your floral see-through envelope pocket, floating pocket type thing with the Life magazine page in there, and there's a vintage ad on that Life magazine page. This is the center of your signature here. Both of the signatures have these dangles hanging from the center. Got the beautiful lace in the center there as well. There's the other side of that vintage ad, and I like having the pages folded, you know, however they come out of the magazine. Mixed media paper, you've got fabric there. There is the last issue, A Message to Our Readers. This is actually the letter that I read from 1972. It was from December of 1972, and it tells about it being the last issue. Little piece of history for you there. Got the beautiful, this can be a tuck. And then this is a collage page, and it folds out. Got the fabric down there. Beautiful. I love how these pages feel with that gesso and the sprays on them. There's the other side of that beautiful pink vintage doily. Got some of the blue chip stamps there as a page tab. Beautiful vintage fabric there. And then you've got the vintage flash card as a page tab and a little pocket. So I just tucked something in there so you'd know it's a pocket. Vintage chenille pocket here. You've got a vintage button card and a couple of tags. And then here, this is a piece of that Ideals magazine cover. So I just made it a little tuck and put some extra buttons, a little pocket card in there for you, and there are buttons in there. Beautiful little doily that billows out the bottom, and this is some really vintage delicate lace there. Got one of those Sears and Roebuck catalog pages from the 1900s. Here's some of those double D stamps for the page tab there, and then you can use this for a tuck. Got the milk bottle top on the mixed media paper. Journaling card on a rusted paper clip. Got some of that beautiful fabric there in the center, and again one of those embroidered pockets. And I just tucked in one of my little scrappy books for you to journal in. So it's just like a little booklet. Vintage While You Were Out card. Another one of those very vintage 1800s doily yo-yos. This is the other side of that embroidered piece, and I just made it a pocket here and put a couple of journaling cards in the pocket so you know it's a pocket. Some more of that beautiful, beautiful stationery that I've been hoarding forever and I needed to share. This is some rice paper. Beautiful doily here that's kind of like rainbow dyed, and then I made it a pocket, so you've got one of those cards tucked in to that, just to kind of show you that it's a tuck. Fabric there, and then on the back side I've put one of those vintage postcards. This is the other side of that beautiful, beautiful doily, and then you've got some collaging there on the edge of that page. And then the back pocket is a gorgeous vintage quilt piece. And you've got some vintage snaps and a couple of the parchment paper tags, a vintage time card, and then again I have signed it with love. So this one is called the Pink Flower Journal, and this one is called Bird Song, and that's how you'll find them in the shop. Don't forget to go check out the shop for all of the sales and the journals that are on sale and the little stuffed bag. This with the a little ephemera stuffed bag. So all of these will be in the shop when you see this video, so run over and grab what you love. Again, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and a happy 4th of July. Love y'all real big. Big hugs.